Election day is now just a few hours away, and in the race for New York City mayor, President Trump and his ex-BFF, Elon Musk, they are standing together tonight behind Andrew Cuomo. In a post on social media, Trump said, whether you like Cuomo or not, you really have no choice but to vote for him. And here's how Mamdani responded tonight on CNN.
When MAGA talking points meet real policy debate, it never ends well for the soundbites. This CNN panel was a perfect example. Scott Jennings tried to drown the conversation in buzzwords like Marxist and socialist, but David Hogg and Abby Phillip weren't having it. What unfolded was more than just a clash of ideology. It was a moment that exposed how hollow the rights culture war arguments have become. Before we dive in, comment where you're watching from and don't forget to like and subscribe.
I mean, you gave him $300 grand. That's interesting. That's probably the only 309 Islamo-Marxist grand that he got. I saw Linda Sarsour today bragging about all the money that's coming from all over the world.
And so for their elections in New York.
Look.
And honestly, I think part of the reason he's so powerful is because people are tired of being lectured by men with Rolexes on CNN about affordability in this country.
Together.
Election day is now just a few hours away, and in the race for New York City mayor, President Trump and his ex-BFF, Elon Musk, they are standing together tonight behind Andrew Cuomo. In a post on social media, Trump said, whether you like Cuomo or not, you really have no choice but to vote for him. And here's how Mamdani responded tonight on CNN.
We're seeing the two twin architects of this second term of Donald Trump's presidency in the president himself and Elon Musk saying clearly to New Yorkers that their candidate is Andrew Cuomo. And they've picked Andrew Cuomo because they know that he will be the puppet that they want right here in New York City.
David, you are headed to New York tomorrow. How helpful is this going to be to Andrew Cuomo to have Trump and Musk behind him?
To Andrew Cuomo, yeah. I think he has done plenty of work himself to dig the hole deep enough that it's pretty obvious he's not going to win. For Zoran's campaign, My Group Leaders We Deserve was the largest contributor to the independent expenditure in support of him, spending $300,000 in support. And what I think, while there's a lot of debates going on right now in our party about do we go left, do we go to the right, do we go to the center, there is a lot to be learned from this race, not necessarily about policy, no other city is like New York City, but a lot about the power of listening. One of the things that Zoran did in this race is he went to voters and asked them, what do you want to see in your mayor? And listened to them and had a clear message around affordability. And whether it's the governor's race in Virginia, the governor's race in New Jersey, or the mayoral race in New York or other races around the country, there's a clear through line, even if some of them are more moderate or more to the left, of talking about affordability and not just saying, oh, we need to lower prices, but saying what they're actually going to do on it. And it's a clear sign, in my view, that there's real generational change coming in our party. Because the whole thing we didn't talk about when it was about Trump versus Biden is that the reason why we even have to debate that is because of how damn old they are.
Well, do you think that there's some truth to what he's saying, Penny? The idea that, Republicans have been saying, oh, he's a socialist, as if that was going to be enough to stop Mamdani. But really what voters are responding to is what Mamdani is saying. Are Republicans misunderstanding what's happening here?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think he is a shiny object. I think he's a good politician. And he is up against a former governor who left on a horrible note because of his behavior. And he has that horrific record of people dying during COVID and what he did in nursing homes. I was just recently with someone whose parents died because of that. And so I don't know why that was the best candidate, that actually could come forward. And by the way, there's only 16% of voters are Republicans in New York City. So let's not get confused here. But the question is though, I mean, it's only 25% of people maybe will be voting. That's a low turnout vote because there's no big races other than the mayoral. But the question is the party going to become more like Mamdani? Is that going to be the future of the Democratic Party?
What is it?
Well, first, let me say at this point, I mean, with Trump's endorsement and Elon's endorsement, I mean, Cuomo might as well get the Penguin and the Joker to endorse him. I mean, he's going to lose the race. It's over.
I'll just point out that the Penguin was once in a movie elected mayor of New York City.
That is true.
We'll just point that out.
That is true. Copper pot.
Now, that's a pretty good line from Jared Moskowitz. And as douchey as Scott Jennings is, he actually had a pretty good response to that. But I think for a whole lot of people, they are saying, yeah, if Mamdani can win in New York City, that maybe this would be a blueprint that we would see going forward for Democrats. People are tired. We're going to hear this from David Hogg here in a moment, but people are tired of the same old corporate Democrats that are essentially Republican light, and they're actually saying, we want you to do something for us, not get elected and say, oh, we'd like to do some things, but the Republicans won't let us. Look at all the things that the Trump administration is doing, is getting, just ramming through. And I'm not saying that the Democrats should just break laws and do illegal things the way the Trump administration and the Republicans are. But it kind of falls on deaf ears when the Trump administration is just they're accomplishing, they've already accomplished, 60% or so of Project 2025 that the vast majority of the American people don't want. So when Democrats get in office and say, we couldn't do anything because the Republicans wouldn't let us, I don't think people are buying that anymore. And when we're seeing, we're going to see dramatic increases in healthcare costs, we're seeing what's happening with SNAP, all kinds of, the actual good programs that have been set up by Democrats in the past, that Donald Trump is just coming out and saying, we're going to get rid of these Democrat programs. I think voters are saying we want somebody like a Mamdani or a Bernie Sanders or an AOC who's actually going to fight for us and not just fight for billionaires. And the Scott Jennings and the other MAGA types that go on Abby Phillip show, they're going to call them communists and Marxists and socialists, all these words that don't have any meaning anymore other than to just be MAGA buzzwords and scare tactics. They called Joe Biden a communist and a socialist and a fascist and a Maoist and whatever else. They did the same thing with Barack Obama. So I don't think at least Democratic voters are afraid of those terms anymore when they've lost all meanings, and Scott Jennings and the rest are going to use those terms anyway with the most milquetoast centrist politicians.
Right.
You're going to come in here.
Okay, all
please
right.
Bone up.
I apologize. I'll brush up on my DC comics before I come in. Mamdani's going to win the race. He's going to be mayor. He ran a brilliant campaign. He's a brilliant messenger. And he copied a little bit of what Trump did. Simplified the messaging, repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And he ran brilliant ads, and he's going to win. Now, whether that's exportable to other places, listen, I don't think so. I think there's places like Chicago and Portland, Seattle, you can create it. It's hard to find a good candidate, right? A good messenger. Like how many AOCs are out there, right? When you're talking about someone who can message. But look, when you're talking about the suburbs, no, Mamdani is not going to win in Boca Raton.
Quick 30 seconds, Scott.
Yeah, look, he's probably going to win. I mean, it's a Democrat town, and they're going to elect a socialist to run the financial capital of the world. I mean, you gave him $300,000. That's interesting. That's probably the only 300 non-Islamo-Marxist grant that he got. I saw Linda Sarsour today bragging about all the money that's coming from all over the world.
And so for their elections in New York.
Look.
And honestly, I think part of the reason he's so powerful is because people are tired of being lectured by men with Rolexes on CNN about affordability in this country. That's the real reason he is resonating right now. Because he has a clear message that actually says, this is what I plan to do. And the party, I don't think this is about going to the left or the right, to be honest with you. Do I agree with Zoran much more than a lot of other Democrats in our party? Certainly. But I think we need to meet voters where they're at in their districts. In some districts, that's going to be
But you want a socialist future for your party.
I want a future where everybody has health care and people can afford a good life.
All right, we're going to leave it there.
And
what this exchange revealed wasn't just the weakness of MAGA rhetoric. It showed how exhausted voters are with empty labels and fear politics. While Jennings was busy tossing around Islamo-Marxist jabs, David Hogg was talking about healthcare, affordability, and listening to real people. That contrast between performance and policy is why younger voters are reshaping the democratic message from the ground up, and it's why old political playbooks no longer work. The takeaway: America's political conversation is changing, from shouting matches to substance. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns like this.